Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how I blend coloured pencils. This is after the poll on Instagram. My account is in my description. People wanted to know how I blend colour pencils personally and like how my style has changed over time. So today I thought I'd colour in this Azuma rule here and just show you my techniques and what I do that might be different or similar to other videos you've seen in how I blend colour pencils for different areas, obviously. So for more smaller areas, larger areas, and then the more like different colours, so blacks and whites, because they can sometimes be quite difficult to choose colours for. So yeah, let's get started. So before I actually start colouring in the Azuma rule today, this one here, I sketched it first here in the bottom right, you can see there, and I digitally transferred it onto this toned tan paper. Yeah, back to this. Before I start colouring in the Azuma rule, I just thought I'd show you how my style has changed over time. So with this septile here, you can see it's blended okay. This is like 2 years ago, I think, nearly 2 years ago. So I think I was 14, something like that back then. And yeah, the greens are, it's not entirely blended how it should be. So you can still see pencil marks underneath, which I haven't erased, and then some bits are quite rough. And the white highlights are really overpowering. I just thought, and I did this septile a few days ago with a blaze.
I also posted this on my Instagram if anyone's interested. The @ will be on the screen now, so yeah, thanks.
Smoothly blended, but they're placed in a way that makes sense and not, the colours aren't overpowering one another, so they're like more muted. So yeah, we'll crack on with the Azuma rule now, and I'll just show you how I choose my colours. So one of the main things that I struggled with initially when I was starting to learn colour pencils was choosing the correct colours to make your piece look correct and blended in a nice way, because some colours look one way but they really aren't in reality. So in the link in the description, these aren't very helpful printed out, but you can see from here, this is by Valkyus on DeviantArt, but there's more on the sides, but my printer was weird for some reason and cut them out. So these are just examples of how you can blend colours, and it gives you the name. This is with Prismacolor, which is what I'm going to be using in the video. Yeah, and then also I couldn't find my swatch chart, but it's always good to make some swatches like this, so you can like see what that colour actually looks like instead of from just like the barrel colour, or I don't know what you call it, the lead. So for this example, this Azuma rule, lots of it is blue, but it's quite a cool blue, not really warm. So this set here, I'm going to be using this today. So indigo blue, Copenhagen blue, true blue, non-photo blue, and there's no deco blue that exists anymore, but sky blue light is quite similar. So yeah, that's what we'll be using today. I also just wanted to mention that if you are worried about mixing certain brands, or you feel like your colour pencils don't really work well enough, or you don't have enough of a specific colour, you can always use various other brands. So just an example here, Polychromo. These would work fine with the Prismacolor, even though they're oil based compared to the wax in Prismacolor. They still work fine, and there's no reason why you shouldn't blend them together. But just for this example today, we'll be using the Prismacolor as they're more widely available, I'd say. Well, they're more affordable as well, and yeah, I'd say these are probably easier to blend to start with, so I would recommend Prismacolors first. So now we're going to crack on and I'll show you how I do my blending. Yeah, let's go. So the first thing I'm going to be doing today is this bit of the tail on Azuma rule. As you can see, it's a very regular circle, so there's no misshapes in it. Just a good circle, which is good because this is a great way of just practicing your blending anyway, but putting it into a drawing helps as well. So I'll do this in real time, and then I'll do some of the other smaller parts in a time lapse, so you can follow it, but you don't have to follow it as closely. So what I would normally do is I'd start with my darker colours, not on the very edge though, just around here like that. So the reason I'd layer with the darker colours first is because I don't know why, this might just be me, but I feel like seeing the shadows first is better than actually doing the lighter colour first, because if you put your lighter colours down, then you can't really change that, you know, pressing down your whites too hard can really impact what you're drawing. So you just saw me put down indigo blue there, and now I'm just laying a bit of Copenhagen on top, doing very light circular strokes though, so making sure that there's no streaky marks, no rough texture in the drawing, just taking it slow, just laying down small layers of pigment. And so we leave this line here. You can put some Copenhagen down there if you want, but it's not needed. So next, true blue. This is probably your main colour for your drawing. I might put a bit too much Copenhagen down there, or indigo, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Put as much down as you feel suits. So that's that there, and then we'll go with the non-photo. I think it's non-photo blue. Yeah, and we'll just circular. This isn't going to be what it looks like in the end. Just laying down the colours and also the first layer. So as you can see, I'm just continuing to layer down my pencils. For example, the non-photo blue now on the edge of the circle with the Copenhagen blue. That allows to give it a 3D edge, and then I just continue to layer into the indigo blue, the darker colours, and from there I'll gradually layer into the lighter colours where the sort of highlight of the circle is. So we just continue to do this, and yeah, I'll let the time lapse play on. The wax in these prism colours really allow you to get very rich colours. I keep repeating myself, but it is really a nice process once you just get to grips with it and learn. Obviously markers are nice as well, but I feel like this is more, I don't know what the word is. Sense between realism and cartoon style. So now that we've done that, I'll crack on and get onto the arms and the legs, and I'll come back and show you how to do larger areas, which will be this torso area here. Whilst doing this bit here, I just wanted to point out that this part of Azumarill's, or this arm of Azumarill, is behind her body, so it's behind, like, yeah, so there's basically going to be more shadow on it. So what I'm doing is applying more of these darker colours just to give a sense of perspective and add to the shadows. So yeah, I'll continue the time lapse. as you probably saw from the time lapse, I've now finished these smaller areas of blending. So started with the tail, which I showed you, and then moved on to these arms, legs and tail. I wouldn't normally do it in this order. I'd normally work from the face and just blend out that way, but I feel like this is probably easier to go in smaller sections for you guys to see and watch me go along. So we're going to do the last bit of blue now, which is the main part of blue. This is the main body, so this will be around the face and down to where this squiggly line is here. And it's basically the same premise, but it's slightly different in it takes more time to layer up, but you want to be more careful that you don't apply pressure too quickly, because otherwise you can ruin your pieces and it doesn't work. I actually have an example. I'll just go get that for you. So just as an example, this was from about I think a year ago now, and this is my first time doing a more not big scale, but circular body, so you have to be more careful how you apply the pressure. So between these pinks here, it was fine, I was doing quite well, but then I started to add them like magenta tones and all that, and it didn't really work out, and that was because I was quickly applying dark pressure down here and wasn't really considering the lighter colours out here. So when I tried to blend the two, they didn't really fuse together. So that's just an example there. I was drawing that quite late, so probably wasn't the best idea, but just for, and as an example, this is what will happen. As you can see, it's not really nice there. Could fix it probably. Like the arm there, you see that's where I did the smaller blending. That turned out quite nice, in the ears as well, but just this big bit here didn't really turn out nice as I wanted it to. Of course, this is fine for some people, but for me, I just wasn't happy with it. So we'll now crack on with this main body here, and yeah, see you shortly. So let's get cracking on this torso piece now. So one thing you need to make sure, I might be going over this with a voiceover and speeding this up, because it's probably going to take a good half an hour to colour this in, so this commentary is just going to be for me. So here you can just see me going through my pencils quickly, true blue and indigo blue, and yeah. So I start to layer down the indigo blue under where I think shadows are, so that would be under the arms and points basically away from the light source. So yeah, I do that quite lightly, making sure I leave space for that non-photo blue to make a line to give it that 3D edge later. Now I'm picking up my Copenhagen blue and just continuing to layer this down. It's a very sort of repetitive process, but of course it's worth it in the end, and I think you'll enjoy it quite a lot. And quickly here, I just mentioned how the face is normally the focal point of your drawing, so you want to make sure you embellish that and make sure it stands out, which is normally by using the lighter colours and then contrasting that with, you know, the back and other less important areas with darker colours. So from here, now finished with the Copenhagen for the meantime, I'm layering down my true blue. This is going to be our main colour for the piece, so I layered that down quite a lot, just gravitating towards the face, but not in a strong way, so I'm able to layer the pencils down later on. And now you can see, oh, broke a lead there, but I've got the non-photo blue now, which is my main lightest colour. I also have the sky blue light, but that's mainly just for strong highlights. And yeah, just going over these areas now, putting those shadows under the nose, because that is a object that is off the surface of the luminol, or on the surface, but it's 3D. So yeah, you can see me there just trying to make sure the sky blue light isn't too strong. Obviously it could detract from the main face if there's too much white there. Now I'm going back into my second layer here, so indigo blue again, working from the darkest colours into those lighter colours, making sure that those 3D edges are nice and vibrant and that you can see them. So the indigo blue is going down
sharpening the Copenhagen once again. You need to make sure that you sharpen your pencils. It's critical that you do this, otherwise you won't achieve that blend that you're looking for. Sometimes it's good to have a blunt pencil, such as if you're, I don't know, if it's on your first layer, that's obviously fine because you're not going for those refined features, in my opinion. But yeah, generally you want to keep a sharp pencil if you're looking for that burnishing effect. So from here we really start to see the piece come together, not only because we're doing the face, but also because this is the main colour of the piece. This is what makes up the majority of the piece. So there's obviously the whites, the pinks and the ears as well, but the blues are what makes this piece what it is, what makes it a zoom reel. And now you can see that the true blue is coming together with the Copenhagen to make a 3D blend. So from here we're just finishing off that blending with the true blue and the Copenhagen, going around those circles. I know I've gone in a little bit there, you can see, but we can cover that up later. So now I'm going in with a non-photo blue, as you can see here, and just repeating that process of gently layering down the pencil with the true blue and the non-photo blue in a way that it makes it look crisp and 3D. Under the mouth there, that's another surface that's going to be raised above the general face, so adding a bit of shadow there just gives it that 3D edge. And now just finishing off with the sky blue light and the non-photo blue. So I've just finished going around the edges here with the non-photo blue, the basically light blue, and now we're going to be doing these eyes here and adding a bit of light to them. So I've got quite a few colours here, but the main thing about doing these fine areas for fine blending is the sharpness of your pencil. So you want to have a very, very sharp pencil and just start laying colour down there as much as you can. Well, no, not as much as you can, sorry. So you just want to basically lay your colours down one by one, but in a minute we're going to be going over this with the black. So this is basically specifically for the eyes, mainly. But just by adding these colours initially, you'll see that crisp edge. So you know how it goes now. We just keep layering those colours using the goldenrod, burnt ochre and all that. And you can see here, just using a white gel pen to add those final highlights to the eyes and other bits on your drawing you might choose to do so, will really just make it stand out and give it a bold presence. There. Now, already, you can't really see at the minute. I'll do the second eye now. But it's already starting to look a lot more like a solid piece. So we get the other die done. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So that's the 2 eyes done. And that's really, I'm really happy with how those 2 have turned out. Now we're going to do these facial features here, so the nose and the mouth. So I'll just adjust the camera for that. So now we're going to work on the rest of the facial features. You can see me just going through talking about the blending of the body here, but now we're going to move on to the nose. And the nose in the zoom reel is just a black, but what we can do here is use the blues to make it look more vibrant and more colourful, which is what the general theme of this piece is. Now for the mouth, I know I'm still drawing the nose, but for the mouth I would suggest using these 3 colours. Pink rose, as you see there, put that in the pencil extender by Derwent Official, really useful. And also henna is a great colour for your mid-tone, and finally Tuscan red is good as well. So we use pink rose and henna on the tongue, and yeah, that just gives a nice realistic sense to the cartoon piece. And then Tuscan red and henna in the main mouth bit, so you'll see me do that now. Just layering it down carefully. And yeah, that should be the mouth and tongue done. So now that I've finished this, I'm just going to go and work on the ears, and also we'll then follow up by talking about how to blend whites and blacks in a colourful piece. So as you can see, I've just worked into this a little bit now. That's close to being done, and now what I'm going to do is I'll time-lapse me colouring in the rest of this body. The larger bit down here is mainly the same process as this, but as you see, we want to try and complement these colours, so it'll be darker here, gradually getting lighter as we go to the bottom to give that 3D edge. But on these notes in particular, we're not leaving a white rim around the outside, because this isn't, we're not trying to make this look 3D, this is actually just a spot on the body and it's not raised above the surface. So I'll crack on now with these circles, and we'll go on to the blacks and then we'll finish the video. So, as you can see, we're approaching the end of this drawing now. Oh, I just realised I need to colour that one in there, but I'll get to that in a minute. So, we'll begin by colouring in this tail now to show how to blend blacks in the colour pencil piece. So, we're going to be working on this tail now of a zoom reel, which is quite strongly black. So, of course, you don't have to use this. You can use a 90% cool grey, or like a 90% warm grey. For this, for example, I'm going to actually use a black pencil. And I'll also be using this indigo blue. Then you'd also want a lighter blue. So for this example, I'll be using cerulean blue. So you just need 3 pencils for this, and we're going to sharpen those. Okay, just had to make sure they were strong leads. So now that we've done that, we can begin to colour in. So when it comes to drawing in blacks, I again use blues, particularly for this piece. I would use blues in another piece as well, but anyway. So I'm using cerulean blue and indigo blue, as well as black here, but you can use a 90% cool grey as well if you want. So I'm just starting off by layering down the cerulean blue lightly, and then on the edges going over the indigo blue. And so I will continue to layer this up, so it gives a nice blend. And I think the blue just gives it a nice reflective feel without... You can use obviously the greys, but I just feel like in a colourful piece you want to keep to those colourful colours. That's not a word, but anyway. Yeah, so just keep using these colours, blending them as we have done already. Try not to go over the lines like I have there quite a lot, but yeah. Making sure your pencil is still sharp. We're going to start layering over this cerulean blue now. Being careful not to affect any of the edges of it. So you can see it's almost like creating an illusion that the tail is 3D. It's also black. So this is the indigo blue, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned that, but just laying down that colour. So now we get our black, and it's going to be the final colour for this. This just depends on where you feel like you need to place it. So you can go over the blue a bit if you want to make it a bit darker in the shadowed areas. I think that's probably fine for me like that. A bit more there. And this is now about done. There we go. So you can't really see it too well on the camera, but see there's some blue hints here. So that's now your zoom reel pretty much done. Just got a few more things to go over and then we'll be complete. So just a final tip from my personal style now. As you can see, the zoom reel is basically finished now. Looks quite nice in my opinion. But what I'm going to use is use the Uniball Signo white gel pen and go around the edges. I feel like this almost gives it like a sticker sort of look and just really makes it pop off the page, especially on toned paper. This can be toned tan or toned grey, and yeah, just do that all the way around your piece, and I think it just finishes the piece off quite nicely. Sometimes, like you saw in my Septon Blaziken piece, I don't choose to do so, but I'm happy with the outcome already. But if I feel like it just needs something to finish it off, or it just doesn't look complete, I will often just go for this white gel pen, just adjusting the camera there as it's slowly falling down onto my piece. But yeah, that's basically it now, guys. I'll just leave it the rest for it to play to you, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, see you guys next time. Now it's time to see what the piece looks like all complete.